Hello, welcome. So today I'm going to talk about the Synastry aspect. It's been a while since I've made a video about one. And I'm going to be speaking about the Sun in conjunction with Jupiter in Synastry aspects or in composite charts, even though it can be expressed slightly differently, but just the contact of this conjunction between Sun and Jupiter and what my experience, my take, and my observation has been about this contact. And this is a contact that is a very interesting one. It's very shiny. There's usually a genuine fondness and a like towards each other that it's immediate. There's something here between this interaction where one's personality becomes inflated around the other. So in a positive sense, there's a lot of growth, a lot of appreciation, a lot of positive reassurance, a lot of positivity, good luck, good fortune. There's a sense of our life shining brighter around the presence of this other person. It's almost like awakening the sun consciousness within this pairing dynamic. Even the one that it's in the Jupiter side will feel that there's a warmth that the sun person's energy bring that ignites and makes them connect with their own inner sun, which could be their own sense of confidence, creativity, a boost of ego, a boost towards success, and just looking at the brighter side of life. This too is a very kind of reckless, optimistic kind of couple or friendship or association. Of course, there can be other aspects that can, if the Sun or the Jupiter here are also aspected with other challenging energies, it can differ, but just the basic core of Sun-Jupiter conjunction is a very magnetic, golden, lucky energy. And the two elements here just feel so good around each other. It's really hard to have a negative perception of each other, even when things are challenging or not going well, or there's potentially a separation. I've noticed that this people always look at each other with a good appreciation. So even if things ended, they're always going to look back to the memory of this person or this type of connection as likely someone that they respect and they admire, regardless of the history. That's the word that I was looking for, admiration. There's a lot of admiration in terms of our authentic selves. The Sun feels like they can be truly themselves around the Jupiter person, and this can feel like it's something like simple, but it's not. I do feel like most of the times when we attract these types of connections is because we do need some sort of validation or confirmation that it is okay to be ourselves, and that our true source of joy and our true source of happiness comes from having that deep connection with our truth, and understanding that those that truly are meant to be in our lives and that are truly going to really love us and respect us will love us for who we are and not by pretending a role. So the Sun feels like this effortless, like they're being adored and worshipped and liked effortlessly by just being themselves, being that this self is silly or fully artistic, serious, corporate, traditional, unconventional, doesn't matter. Whatever the true authentic spark that brings vitality to the Sun person's energy, the Jupiter adores it. And it's very important in order to sustain this connection that both are really themselves when interacting with each other, because I feel like the problems come when there's like a tendency to wear masks or hide aspects of our nature, being because of fears or convenience matters. The challenge usually comes when we're not being true, when we're being fake, or when we're trying to use or achieve or manipulate the other through what they can bring us or what we can profit from them, because this couple tends to be a successful couple or a successful pairing. And in a more challenging note or a negative side of this synastry aspect, there can be sometimes connections formed by interest, because either they see each other as like perfect arm candy or trophy wife, trophy husband, or one of the parts sees the advantage of socially or financially joining forces here with the other. And the thing is, it's true that there's benefits for both in this connection, but it's like something that's going to come naturally when they connect, when they interact. There's no need to play games here, or no need to actually go for the use of each other, because naturally the connection will be blessed with some kind of achievement, success, radiance, popularity, financial growth, professional expansion. These two, when they come together, they can really grow. So in whichever level the Sun is and the Jupiter is, they're going to have at least one upgrade. To the minimum, there's going to be an upgrade in some capacity. If the Sun person or the Jupiter is artistic or tends to work with self-expression, that's going to be increased to the max with this aspect. Or if the Jupiter is already a wealthy person, the Sun is going to bring even more wealth and more creative actually ways to generate wealth into this couple's dynamic. So I really love this aspect, and I feel like it's an aspect that is undervalued, just because it tends to be, the Sun aspects tend to be seen more like friendly aspects than romantic ones. Usually we care more to look towards the Moon and the Venus and Mars aspects. And it's true, each of one of them has their role and their place in synastry aspects. But the Sun for me feels like, in my observations, it feels like a very important point as well when there's connections here, because also depending on maybe there's more prominence depending here on the personal birth chart of each other. But when we cannot be our true selves, when we cannot be free in our expression, when we cannot feel like we're loved and accepted by who we are, I tend to feel like relationships will not really go very well in the long term, because we're always going to be trying to please the other or hide other aspects from the other. So it's not going to go really well in the sense of the freedom that this type of Sun aspects can create when we're just loved and accepted and appreciated by our true selves. So it's easier to find harmony within a connection when we can be our true selves and actually feel appreciated by it and loved by it. This aspect creates at times that sense of one being the fan of each other, one being the cheerleader of each other. It's really hard for this couple to ever put the other down, or to say negative things, or to trash talk each other or gossip about each other. Usually when that happens, there's other aspects contaminating the Sun-Jupiter influence. I tend to find that Sun-Jupiter conjunctions, they put each other on a pedestal. They see each other as the Sun energy and the Jupiter, which are very big, bright elements, the bigger aspect. So it's like they stand out from the crowd, they stand out from the rest, and they stand out in a positive sense. So again, it doesn't matter if the connection ends, they're always going to be looking at this person, this relationship with high regard. So it's the type of couples that are always complimenting each other, are always motivating each other, are always, making sure that the other is happy, which is another thing that I find that it's beautiful about this aspect, is that there's a genuine desire to see the other happy. So in this aspect, when the other is smiling, when the other is having fun, when the other is in their hobby energies, or dancing or partying, or just doing anything that brings fun and fulfillment and even lights up that inner child of theirs, the other party, is delighted to see this. It's very difficult for this couple to accept when the other might be down or sad or depressed or insecure. They tend to want to swipe those more negative aspects to the side and bring each other up. This aspect is meant to bring each other up. So maybe you attract this type of connections when you are indeed needing that boost of confidence, or when you're needing that support, when you're needing that cheering up, when you're needing that person that mirrors to you your best self, or that reflects the qualities of you that maybe you have been suppressing. What else can I say about this? I find that this is also a couple that can be very abundant or very popular, because the sun brings exposure, and the Jupiter expands this exposure, so they can become known couples around the communities, or around social media, or around anything that they're working together at. Actually, there's usually something that, like a hobby, that connects these two people. If not a hobby, it can be just a skill or a talent in common, or something. They usually have something in common that has to deal with their talent, skills, or preferences. Preferences in things that are about having fun, because the sun is the ruler of the 5th house. So we're talking about hobbies, activities for pleasure, fun, the type of music or entertainment they like, the type of parties, the type of activities that they like, the type of sports, the type of the sexual style that they have usually is also a kind of similar. How they like to be complimented is also kind of similar. There's just a lot of synchrony between these two when it comes to bringing together two, again, of the bigger, brighter points in this cosmic element. And it's interesting because I find also that with this pairing, they don't compete. They could, right? They could, because each one of them are, on their own, are very powerful. Usually I don't see competition. I see admiration and genuine fandom. But even if they would want to compete, I feel like it's going to be something like in a funny way. Those couples, that are like very cute and doing things to tease the other. The competition is not based on actual having to overpower the other. It's on just having fun. So I see a lot of that.